Welcome to another edition of the Narrator podcast. I'm your host, Hall Z. Allen. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome anybody new that may be listening to the podcast and unfamiliar with my content. I'll brief you all newcomers in a second. So first of all, happy Thursday. So here we are, another live edition of the Narrator podcast, the home of original people, peace, reciprocity, and positivity. Now, what do I do here on the Narrator podcast for all my new listeners? Let's start at the top. Tippy. First of all, what is it about? Let's start at the name, the Narrator podcast. Narrative. So it's no secret that the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. On my podcast, what I want to attempt to do is to change these skewed contrite, jaded views of our people and our culture perpetuated by the media. They intentionally misrepresent us and try to market us as a certain way. They play up all the negative stigmas and stereotypes within our culture. So what I want to do is design a platform where I'm playing up our strengths and, the true, essence of who we are as a people and, the true essence of our culture. We have a rich, beautiful culture. We're a rich, beautiful people, but, we're always painted in a negative, dirty, ugly light by the media. And, it doesn't stop there. It's in literature. It's in music. Folklore, you name it. You can go throw it all the way back to whatever, how, misrepresented we are as a people. The ultimate takeaway I want listeners to get from this podcast, my people, is how important it is to share positive content about our people and our culture. Because like I said, the media intentionally misrepresents us to the world. They do this primarily for profit, but also they do this to portray us a certain way to people outside of our culture to help, the higher echelon stay at the top of the pyramid and, keep their socio-economic hold over, the resources and the world to help keep their prestige and make themselves look like, pure by making everybody else look foul and dirty. But that's the ultimate takeaway I want my listeners to understand from my content that I'm sharing. My tagline is the Narrator Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes? I provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And as I said, I want everybody to understand, why it's important to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. So it's important because all people outside of our culture are given about us is, negative frames of reference. Like that's all they have to go about us as a people. That's all they know. That's all they see. That's all they hear is negativity. They're not seeing stories or hearing stories about, leadership, entrepreneurship, us being a studious people, us cohabitating peacefully amongst ourselves. All they ever see is like us in violence, killing each other, um, fighting each other, robbing, stealing, the whole nine, uh, engaging in amoral behavior and activity, and just, out here in these streets bad. But in reality, we're rising academically, we're rising financially, we're taking care of our own, and, you know, we have some business about ourselves, some decorum, some class, but they always want to show us in depravity. They always want to show us engaged in some type of criminal activity. They always want to show us, being treating each other horrible, talking about each other horribly. They don't ever want to see us unified. They don't ever want to see us, speaking intelligently. They just want to portray us as thugs, niggas, bitches, and whores. That's what they want to focus the lens on. They want to just focus the lens on all the buffoonery, all the foolishness, all the lowbrow, all the low class stuff. They don't ever want to focus the lens on us being intelligent, us being solution based, the full scope of everything we bring to the table as a people. They never want to focus in on that. So, it's our duty to use our platforms wisely. This is why I call my listening audience my narrators. We're all content creators to some capacity with these handheld devices that we walk around, in our pockets or wherever you put your device at. We're living in the digital age. People judge you based about, the content that you're posting online. That's what they equate you with as a person. They equate you with the content you post online. So just imagine us always posting gang culture, gun culture, thought culture, F-boy culture, pimp culture, whore culture, drug culture. This is like, they're already giving us negative frames of reference about us as a people. So, it's our jobs to, post positive things in our timelines, in our feeds, whatever platform that you occupy, post something positive about ourselves and our people. Our people and our culture, excuse me. And as I said, that's how we change the narrative. So backing up a bit, you noticed that I kept on saying original in reference to our people. On my platform, I refer to our people as original people versus black. We occupied this planet 5,000 years before any other civilization on the planet. We was on every corner of the globe you can think of originally, indigenously originally, especially here in the Americas. So while slavery did indeed happen and it went on for, several hundred years, not all of us are transplants via slave ship. Many of us, a large percentage of us was already originally here in the Americas. So like when they say, stories about, the Pilgrims raped the Indians, they're talking about us too, here in the Americas. So, but more to my point about original versus black. We created everything in the beginning, including spoken language and written language. And in the beginning, when we created the language, we used black, as a sign of meaning opulence, strength, wealth. We associated all things positive with the word black. But then people outside of our culture that didn't look like us, plundered the language, colonized the language, and over time, black took on a whole new meaning. They breathed life into black, meaning something negative. And they associated everything negative with the word black. They've associated death, dying, disease, suffering, anything you can name, black, unluckiness, uncleanliness, everything negative, any negative word you can think of is associated with the word black in these modern times that we're living in now. You can go to any dictionary, you can look up the word black, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about, all these negative pronouns, nouns, verbs, adjectives, example sentences describing how to use the word black, and all these words, all these negative words that are equated with the word black. But before it gets to all that, they go out of their way to denote origin, denoting that black, linking, ancestry with the word black. They'll usually start off with black, dark-skinned people, or people with a dark pigmentation originating from Africa. And then they'll go all down the line, all these negative words describing black. So it's a psychosomatic thing. It's a psychological warfare at its best. And then, like in that same dictionary, everything white means pure and pristine and holy, and white represents purity, cleanliness and holiness, and all things positive. So they did a big number on us as a people, and you can look at us, especially here in America, from saying black, identifying as black, because I also believe in the power of words, and when you release it out of your mouth, words shape reality. Now, if you're tapped in and tuned in to, your higher self, and you have no objection from using the word black, its origins and what it means, then by all means keep on referring to yourself as black. I'm not telling people what not to do. I'm just saying, I believe a more accurate term for our people is original, because we was on the planet first, and we originated pretty much everything that we commonly use every day. Like, life began with us. We were the original man, were and are the original man and the original woman of the planet Earth, and we've created pretty much everything. We created and invented written and spoken language. We're the original teachers, philosophers, architects, mathematicians, scientists, philosophers, alchemists. We originated pretty much everything. So the word original doesn't have any negative connotation surrounding it. It only has positive connotations surrounding it. Original hints at, the beginning, the first, and in many cases, the best. So that's why I refer to our people as original people versus black. On my platform. Check 1, check 2. Okay, I didn't see my EQ lights, so I had to do a check when I don't see them. Because when I don't see them going up, bobbing up and down, it means I'm not recording and I'm live. So when I share it back to all my platforms, I don't want dead air space. But anyway, so now that you got a gist of, my format, what I'm hoping to, and what I'm trying to achieve here in my space that I'm occupying, I'm going to dive into the content. So this is a live broadcast. And what I usually do on my live broadcast, I share, articles that I've come across and deliver commentary on breaking news. And the reason I do the articles is to share positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, because we don't get a lot of positive frames of reference. All we get is negativity. We get these like ratchet reality shows depicting us in a negative light, these ratchet movies and music, and you don't ever hear us excelling at an excelsior level. You don't see us excelling at a excelsior level. So, when I go live, when I see positive news, I share that back to put it out in the atmosphere, just to let everybody know, hey, we're great, we're achieving greatness, we're great, beautiful people. Because, whatever you take into your psyche, your subconscious mind, it takes on reality. And that's all that the media is doing, is bombarding us with negativity. Their goal is to make us view ourselves a certain way. And when we view ourselves a certain way, we act in a certain way. And in our culture, we have, unfortunately, because of all these years of negativity, being bombarded with negativity, we've started normalizing things that are not normal within our culture. Like, we've normalized not having morals. We've normalized violence against each other. We've normalized and rationalized not having, not making a way for ourselves. Everything like we just embrace and take like, oh man, that's hood. Like, we've normalized putting water in cold cereal. We've normalized eating, tins, meals out of tins, like canned beef hash and, anything you gotta open with a can opener, like that's dinner. We've normalized that. We've been programmed and conditioned to accept things that are not normal as normal and want that for ourselves as a people. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm gonna dive into these articles. It's gonna be super light tonight. I got off to a pretty late start. Another go on my podcast for our new listeners. I like to keep it brief and to the point. I want to, make all my content digestible. I don't want to shoot over your head, and I definitely don't want to drone on and on and on. So when you join me on a full broadcast, just know my podcast on a full broadcast day, which is every single weekend, it's broken up into sections, and each section has a speaking point. And I summarize each section as I come to them. As when I first started podcasting, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what areas I wanted to focus on. And basically, I would just hit record and talk with no real speaking point, no real starting point, no real stopping point. And as a result of that, I didn't have any real listeners. So when I stepped back and assessed my content, I said, let me streamline it by breaking it down into sections and, basically just shooting to the meat and, getting right to it. And so that's what my goal is with my level of consciousness that I'm bringing to the table is just digestible. You don't have to clear your entire schedule to catch up on an episode of the Narrator podcast. You can share it. It can be a conversational piece, bring people together, get people proactive. It's just on the go consciousness. All right. So here we go with the first article of this evening. I really only got 2 articles, and the reason being because I want to go in on my commentary a bit. And like I said, I want to keep it brief and to the point. So this is pretty late in the evening. For all my narrators, on my lives I start much earlier than this, but I just had a lot of stuff going on. I was working on a whole lot of projects, and so, here's what I'm doing this evening. Gotta get up into my notes. All right. So, first article reads, I'm saying first article, I just said I got 2 articles. But anyway, first article, the headline reads, I just lost my place. Meet the librarian giving away thousands of free books to Black children. And the sister's name is Abra Mace. She's a mobile librarian from Baltimore, Maryland. And so yeah, she basically designed, it's like the Bookmobile 2.0. She's actually designed a machine that dispenses books. She wanted children to get active into reading. So she got with the times, made it more like a digital thing, and to get them involved with reading. Because the times we're living in, we got so much to distract us. A lot of people just don't make the time to read. And she was an ex-educator, and she made that observation, and just pondered to herself, how can I get the children more active into reading? I think that's a good thing for adults as well. You should read something every day. If it ain't nothing but the back of a cereal box, you should read something. Reading is fundamental. Reading is fun for the mental. It stimulates, the neural path. It connects brain stems, brain cells. Reading also helps you gain knowledge. And it also, improves your speech, gives you something to talk about. You can tell an avid reader from someone that does not read. And not saying people that don't read don't possess a pretty good vocabulary, but when you have an actual conversation, you can just see who's just watching TV all the time and who actually reads books. But anyway, I digress. It was a brilliant invention, noble cause. She basically did it out of her own pocket. The program still flourishing, still going strong and growing. It's a good initiative for our children, so we're going to give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause. for Sister Abra Mays. All right, for my next article, the headline reads, 16-year-old headed to college chooses HBCU over Yale and Harvard. The young brother's name is Curtis Lawrence. He got accepted in over 14 different colleges. He got awarded $1.6 million in scholarships. He is elected, so of course, out of all the colleges that he had to choose from, he had two Ivy League colleges to choose from, which was, Yale and Harvard. And he preferred to go to FAMU, Florida Agriculture and Mechanical University. So he's going to learn about agriculture, which is awesome because, living in these times, we need sustainable food sources. We need to have knowledge of, our food supply and take control over it. They keep showing us that we cannot depend on the grocery store because they're doing all kinds of foul stuff to this food, no matter if it's, one of those green grocers like Whole Foods or Publix or something like that. That doesn't even save you from all these foul, grotesque things that they're doing to the food supply. So your best bet, if you can, if it's in your absolute power, is to grow your own food. If you know anything about livestock, if you're a meat eater, probably, have your own meat sources too, your own protein sources, because, they're just doing everything to the food these days. Well, those are my two articles this evening, and we're going to dive into the main event, address the elephant in the room. Did I take it down in the notes? Oh, I should have. I'm just spiraling through. I might have just, yeah. All right, skip the notes. I guess I gotta just punch it up. All right, so unless you've been living under a rock, let's talk about it. The elderly Kansas City man that shot the young unarmed teenager is out on bond right now. Andrew Lester, for shooting a young brother, 16-year-old, on April 13th, Ralph Yarl. So, should there even be a trial? I mean, at this point, because they're saying, they're debating on whether it falls in under the stand your ground law. Now, the stand of your law ground law varies from state to state, region to region, city to city, but essentially, the nuts and bolts of it, the way it works is you have the right to defend yourself and you have the right to kill if the situation dictates it. So you can meet equal force. If you're met with a certain force, you can match it with equal force. So like if I pull a gun on you, if you pull a gun on me and I pull a gun on you, squeeze the trigger and shoot at me and I shoot back and I kill you in a stand your ground state, I'm alleviated from any, charges for killing you, for standing my ground. Presuming that, I have a permit to carry and it was lawfully holstered and all yada, yada, yada. But, so here we are again. They say justice is blind, and it really is when it comes to our people. The wheels of justice turn very, very slowly in concerns to us. Because had the situation, been reversed, had it been an 84-year-old, an original man killing or shooting a Caucasian young man in the head, they would have bought, the electric chair right to his house. So they're basically trying to play, the old, the elderly dementia thing, but I'm talking about this because this is in stride with my content. This is basically what my platform is all about, sharing positive frames of reference. Now, you can't help, a racist. Somebody that decides that they don't like a certain group of people, no amount of enlightenment is going to change their mind. If they got in their mind that they don't like a certain group of people for whatever reason, no amount of education, going out of your way to prove to them that this group of people is not bad or whatever. It's not going to work. They already have a preconceived notion in their mind. It's a learned behavior. They was taught that. And this elderly gentleman, he's from that era. He's 84 years old, so he's from the era where it was cool to call a grown man boy, a grown black man, original man boy. He's from the era where we were called N-words, hard R, niggers. He's from that era. So, I believe if he was like 60, 40, 50, or 60, the young brother wouldn't have been here. Because I believe he probably has some ex-military training. Because, when them old white people, them ex-veterans, you can tell when they used to serve in the forces, you can just take care of themselves a certain way. They know how to handle a firearm. So when he pulled his business out, he meant business. He meant to kill. Innocently enough, he was in the wrong neighborhood, rung the doorbell. He seen a black man who he presumed was a full grown, and he seized the opportunity to kill himself an N-word. He felt threatened. Amber Geiger mistakenly walks into an original man's home. She felt threatened when she saw one sitting on their couch, their own couch. killed them in cold blood, pulled out her thing. It's really putting the hat on it. The wheels of justice always turn slowly for us. So that's all I really want to address. Just like I really pray for Kansas City. I'm beseeching all Caucasian people to live in that area, to use your voice to speak out, to use your platforms to be in support of, the young brother that got shot in his head. Because heaven help your city if this man is found innocent. Because we already seen, people in that area is not playing that after George Floyd. Well, George Floyd, I think it was in Minneapolis, wasn't he? But like, people in the Midwest, they ain't playing that. So it's a shame I'm not advocating violence. I'm just telling human nature. Us as a people, we are so tired and weary with, accounts of aggression getting dismissed towards us. The only time it seems that the law falls in our favor is when it's, one of us committing a crime against one of us. And then the scales of justice balance out because it's one's dead and the other one's in the grave. Justice served. Well, that's it, and that's all. That's all the time I'm allotted for this evening. I was going to go over my format for a full episode of the Narrator podcast, but you can go to my last full episode of the Narrator podcast. I believe it's episode 201 to get a breakdown of my full format. But, I'm going to leave you to ponder everything I just said and to join me this weekend for a full edition of the Narrator podcast. Also, tune in regularly so you don't miss me on the weekends. I mean, during the weekday, I go live randomly on the weekday. So tune in regularly on the weekday so you don't miss me when I'm live. You can follow me on Twitter, Halsey Allen on Twitter. I'm broadcasting live right now directly to Twitter. I'm broadcasting live right now directly to my YouTube, which is also Halsey Allen. So you can subscribe to Halsey Allen on YouTube. Click the notification bell. You'll never miss me when I'm live with a live episode of the Narrator podcast. Oops, hit the outro music a little prematurely. But what I was going to say is join me this weekend for another full edition of the Narrator podcast. I do it every single weekend. My lives is random, but it looks like for the last 2 months I've been locked in on Thursdays, but you never know. It might be a Monday, a Tuesday, or a Wednesday. For the last, I think 3 months, I've been locked in on Thursday. So since I've been locked in on Thursday since about, I want to say late February. But yeah. So don't miss me When I go live, follow Halsey Allen on Twitter. When I go live, follow me on YouTube, Halsey Allen. Click that subscription, click the notification bell so you can get your notifications when I'm live. And yeah, that's it for this live edition of the Narrator podcast. Also, check out my book of poetry that I've written titled The Black Card. It's in the Poetizer library on poetizer.com. And go to poetizer.com, go inside the library and purchase my book of poetry titled The Black Card. It's about 30 pages long, ultra sleek design, very good read. It encompasses all our experiences as a people. It's abstract, it's unique. It just captures, our entire experience, as original men and original women. One of, the first of its kind, I'm pretty sure. You will love it, so go pick it up today. It's titled The Black Card. It's in the Poetizer library. Get yourself a copy today. Also support my personal poetry blog titled Halsey's Poetry Corner. The email address is www.mrhalseysblogs.com. Tagline: poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. When you read one of my poems from Halsey's Poetry blog or Poetry Corner, you will find out why. So it's Halsey's Poetry Corner on blogger.com, powered by Adam. Email address is www.mrhalseysblogs.com. The way you support is sharing one or all my poems from Halsey's Poetry Corner to all platforms, whatever your preferred platform is, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, whatever you're on. Share Halsey's Poetry Corner poem to it. Well, that's it and that's all. That's all I got. I'm working on tons of projects. Stay tuned. Keep it locked. Peace out, family. Sending you love, light, healing energy. I'm out of here like last year. Halsey Allen in the Narrative podcast. Signing off. And it's like that. I'ma make it